Yeah.
Okay, great. So thank you guys for joining again. Today, for this session, our focus is going to be on the transfers. There's one transfer that we've already made, which looks fantastic, and there are a few more, hopefully, that we can make. So the entire session today is about how do we put in these new guys? Where do they play? Can they fit into the playing 11? How does the playing 11 change next season based on the transfers? We'll be discussing in detail, of course, what are the outs that we want to see because we need to generate some money before we spend it. So that's the entire discussion that we will have. We have Anoop and Devdeep who are joining us. Again, two people who are members of the United Forever group. And before we proceed, I'll just ask both Anoop and Devdeep to give a small introduction about themselves.
Yeah. So, hi guys, I'm Anup. I've been a United fan, I think, let's say from early 2000s. Actually, I was introduced to football by my dad, when he was telling me about Maradona, the guy who can, carry the ball from one end of the pitch to the other. And then I got more into the game through Manchester United. I started watching games more often only from 2004, 2005, probably. So yeah, I think overall,
Anoop is experiencing some issues.
Yeah, Anoop,
hello.
you want to? Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. So what I was saying was I'm a huge fan of Wayne Rooney and Paul Scholes for the way they've achieved things with the club and the way they've behaved on and off the pitch. Yeah, so that's about it.
Great. Thanks, Anoop. Devdeep?
Hello, this is Devdeep from Kolkata. I have been following United around since 2005 or 6. I can't please the exact year, but from the first memories of United, there has been only one player, which that is Wayne Rooney. He has been my favorite throughout all these years, and after he left us for Everton, uh, not not after, rather this past decade or so, David De Gea will be my second favorite through all these probably around 15 years of association with Manchester United. Currently, if you ask me, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, and of course Mason Greenwood would be among my favorites. I'm really passionate about United through and through red.
Great to hear. Thanks a lot, guys. So, as I said earlier, we'll go in depth with Anoop and Devdeep in another 10 minutes. Working with them, we'll create a transfer list, a transfer Excel sheet, and then we'll have some simulations for all of you on how, based on the individual transfers that Anoop or Devdeep would have if they were the manager, how would the team look next year? But before we go on to that, the most important thing and a development which happened a couple of days back, Manchester United has made their first signing for the season. It looks a very promising one. And I'll hand it over to Akhil, who's going to give us the entire background of the transfer, how it happened, how is it good for United, and what can we expect from Donny.
Hello guys, good evening. Thanks for logging in. And after a long wait, we finally got a good news, and that's not even a good news. Actually, it's a very good news for us. So if you see last season, one area we were affected the most was the backup. There was no quality backup coming into the second half when we need to push for the goal. There was no backup players to come from the bench, which we saw in the last two semi-finals also, where Ole fielded the best team and he couldn't come up with a second substitute which can impact the team. So Van de Beek is someone who will bring in depth also. He's not just a backup player. I feel he can even start some games. He has quality of coming in starting the game for United. Because if you see Ajax and United kind of after Ole is taking over, the style of play which Ajax have and Ole is kind of similar. They are possession-based game and they pass around the ball and they have a high, especially against low block teams in EPL where we keep oppositions and we struggle to generate chances. That's where Van de Beek will come into place. Where he's a excellent creator of goals. Adding to the number of goals, he has number of assists also. If you see last season he's up there with any of the otherwise other players, and even but only one issue which we have is can he play with Pogba and Bruno together in the starting 11 in our like strongest 11? So problem of that is we'll have to either sacrifice one of our attacking front to play a diamond field. Otherwise, we'll have to give the additional role of defense to both Pogba and Van de Beek, because naturally they are an attacking kind of players, and giving them the defensive role can backbite us in some way. But adding to this point, I feel Van de Beek is not as bad as we think in defensive. If you see last season in Edelweiss, he has averaged a total of 2.2 tackles per matches, where against Matic 2.9. I don't think that's a very high difference when it comes to defensive duties. So I feel, according to me, the best lineup in which Van de Beek can come in, including the current players, I'm not including other potential transfers, with the existing team, is back four, which is the fixed back four which we had last season, with either De Gea or Dean, depending on the form, with the mid of Pogba, Van de Beek, and Bruno in front, with front three as Greenwood, Marshall, and Rashford. That is what one lineup which I feel we can work with Pogba and Van de Beek both playing in the mid, and another one is sacrificing one of the wingers. Like if you take out Greenwood and play Marshall and Rashford up front, you can play a diamond in the middle with Bruno up front and Pogba and Van de Beek in the middle, and Matic providing the defensive cover. These are the two only I feel the possible lineup which I think Ole will execute to accommodate Van de Beek in the team. But all said and done, I feel he's an excellent player, a young player, 23 years old. He is of the mold of Bruno. He is a number 10 player. He has very good off the ball positioning. He takes good positions. He's a good. He attacks very well. He gets the ball back very well. In the final third, he is very aggressive. He presses really well. So all in all, he's like perfect fit for the Ole team which he's building up, and I feel he'll give good competition to Fred also.
Right. So, Akhil, I think one quick question that is coming from Pramod on the chat is, if Sancho comes, according to him, the 4-4-2 won't work, right? So we by default have to go for a 4-3-3. So your thoughts on that? Do we still press for a 4-2-2? Can Sancho play as one of the two upfront people, or how does it work?
So I feel the three up front, Sancho, Martial, and Rashford, can form I seriously feel they can form a real partnership, because those three front, if you can sync up, and because see, another advantage of playing Van de Beek with Sancho is Sancho, as we know, is an inside forward. He keeps cutting in with the ball, and Van de Beek has that pace and positional awareness to take place of his place. So he can really complement Sancho also with that. So if Sancho is playing with Van de Beek and Bruno in the mid, so that question can really work.
Great. All right. So, Akhil, thanks a lot for that insight into Donny. I think we are all excited to see him. Let's see what we have in store. I'm pretty sure he's going to play a lot of matches, irrespective of whether he starts or whether he's on the bench. But thanks a lot, Akhil. Okay, so now let's.
One point I have to add, I just missed out. The history of Dutch players with United is really good. So I'm just hoping that he continues the legacy of his Dutch ancestors and do well for us.
So I think there was a joke which was going around that all Dutch players do well, and then someone said Memphis Depay didn't, and then the reply was he wasn't a van. So let's just hope that this works. So thanks a lot, Akhil. Right, guys. So now going into detail, right? Why we would. So the format that we're going to follow today is one by one. First with Anoop and then with Devdeep. We'll have two mini sessions with each of them. So first we will work with Anoop and we'll try and create what, according to him, could be the ideal transfer shortlist for United in the remaining season. So we'll try and chalk out with him who are the incomings and who are the ones who need to leave. And basis the final transfer sheet that he creates, the final team that we have, we will then try and simulate the team that Anoop, likes to see play in the different conditions. So without wasting any time, let's move to Anoop. So I'll be sharing my screen, Anoop. Just give me a second.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Uh, can you see the sheet, Anup? Can you all see this sheet?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So Anup, this is what we'll do, right? We'll spend 5 or 10 minutes on thinking. So we already have Donny Van Beek, who's been included into the team. Now we are
Yeah.
the names which are getting attached to us in the market are these four, right? So we have Jordan Sancho,
Correct.
we have Upa, we have Thiago, we have Sergio Regulon, who we're trying to buy as a left back from Real Madrid. So if you were the manager, according to you, apart from Donny, which are the other 2 or 3 signings that you want to keep? And of course, we can also then discuss about the players that you want to see leaving, and then let's see what, according to you, could be the net spend that United will have. So, who do you want to start with? Anu? Do you want to start with the outs first or the ins first?
I think I'd prefer to start with the outs first.
Okay.
So, firstly, what I'd like to say is the players that I'm going to name have been very good professionals with our club, who've given the club a lot of their service. However, I honestly feel a few of them are not up to the level that is desired by a top club like Manchester United, and I think if in for us to reach the positions that we aspire to be at, and win titles again, I think this is a very important part of the restructure that Ole is looking at. So I think with Dean Henderson coming in, I think it's pretty obvious that Romero is the one who is going to have to make way. So I think Sergio Romero is rumored to be going to Aston Villa for a deal probably around 10 million. So I think the first one, I think it's pretty straight and simple. And secondly, I think second one would be Smalling. I think at a time when we had not the best defensive options, I think he was one of the best defenders at the club. However, I still get nightmares of the way we used to defend with him in defense. And when we're getting 20 million from Roma for just letting him go, I think we should just close our eyes and just finish that deal. And the third one is Rojo again. He's not been around, injury prone, and whenever he's here, he's very rash and he lacks composure. He's been of good service, but I think it's time to say goodbye again to Rojo.
And I think we got some news in the market where there is an 8 million offer that is coming. I don't recall the club.
Lazio. Yeah, it's Lazio actually. So, Lazio, or I think he prefers to go back to Argentina for his personal reasons, for his family. So I think anywhere, but Argentina, I don't think we would be getting that amount of money, 8 million. So if the Lazio deal is suitable for him as well as the club, I think that should be a good sale for 8 million. Again, coming to another defender, unfortunately, is Phil Jones. Again, a lot of potential, a lot of hope from many of us when Alex Ferguson spoke extremely highly about him. He was compared to Franco Baresi, at one point of time. And frankly, for a while, I think we did see shades of a very good player there. But I think injury and then the lack of confidence, I think the second one, the confidence hit him really bad with the social media memes going around and a lot of things, which I'm pretty sure a player, they just cannot ignore it. I think teams like Newcastle, Everton, West Ham will still do really well to, get him. I think he needs a breath of fresh air, and I think any club that can give him that, I think he should just go out, because if the moment Tuanzebe is back, and I think Mengi is doing pretty well with our under 23s and everything, I think he's going to go further down the pecking order, and I think it's best for him and us to fetch whatever money he can for us and just leave. Other than that, I think Pereira and Lingard. This has been I'm not pretty sure.
How do you choose between them? How do you choose? I mean, do you sell the one who has a higher value in the market? Do you sell based on the limited matches they will play, the skill set that they have? How do you choose as a manager between Pereira and Lingard?
One can't.
Okay, as for now, when I'm thinking, Yeah, when I'm thinking about selling anyone, for example, I've listed 3 defenders there. I still feel after selling these 3 defenders and buying a defender that we are rumored to be, trying for, like Upamecano or someone else of that sort, I think we'll still be pretty sorted because we've got Maguire, Upamecano, Bailly, Tuanzebe, Lindelof, Mengi. I think 5 or 6 of them, and it's a very good spread even after letting go 3 of them. So when it comes to Pereira and Lingard, I think I'm still not sure what the best position for Pereira is. Is he a midfielder? Is he an attacking mid? Is he a left winger? Is he a right winger? I have no clue, and I don't see what he offers best to us. I do accept that, with all the injuries going around in the first half of the season, he did pretty well for us, and I appreciate what he's put out for us. But I think, a team like Southampton, where his services, can be useful, I think we should just let him go. And the only reason I would like to keep Lingard right now is because we need backups for Bruno for the attacking mid. Even though we consider Donny van de Beek, I think Lingard probably in some cup games like FA Cup or something will be pretty useful with especially his pressing, his off the ball movement. And probably there is still a little hope, although I'm not very hopeful, there is still a little hope. I'm saying Lingard because Mata seems to be out of leaving to, I think, Turkey. I'm not pretty sure where, but for 10 million. So if Mata goes, I'm pretty sure we'll need to keep hold of Lingard. We won't be able to afford to buy another attacking mid. And we do not have anyone else in the academy also who can step in and come into the number 10 as of now. So the choice is pretty much Pereira. And I think, frankly, he might fetch a little more money as well. In terms of, if you're thinking about budget, I think Pereira will fetch a little more money as well.
All right. So any idea approximately how much do you think we can sell him for in the market?
Look, given the current situation and given the prices going around, I am hoping to get at least 12.5 to 15 for him. He's still young. He's still got some potential. He's done well in Spain. So I'm hoping a Spanish club just comes in, or so I think Hasenhüttl fancies him. So probably Southampton, some club like that where they prefer his services. I think hopefully we can get a deal there.
Got it. Any other players? So what's your thought on Diego Dalot, right? Another year or that's it?
Look, I'm still, there are reports of Ole not fancying him because he's not giving his all in training. And I thought when Ole came in, he used Dalot well, especially in the right mid, like in the game against PSG, and he used his attacking abilities. So I thought maybe Ole just wanted to develop his defensive abilities and then give him a go. But seeing Fosu Mensah coming back and playing right back ahead of Dalot, I think it is a huge blow for him. But I wouldn't sell him straight away. And I'm not sure. There is potential. He's still 20 years old, but I don't think we'll find a buyer immediately for him, and I think we do need his services for at least another year, because there are quite a few more positions that we need to look at before we go back to right back. Anyways, we've got Wan-Bissaka, who's a sure starter as of now, and I think Fosu Mensah and Ethan Laird will be backups to him, and maybe Dalot at right wing and right back. If we can give it a go as right wing back or something, probably we can just hope for the best.
Okay, great. So these are your 5 outs. Then I think, as per you, these 5 outs are going to fetch us close to 60 to 65 million, right? Now let's get back to the main part here, the players in. Who do you want to add to the list?
Look, I think firstly, Donny van de Beek, I was not very excited initially when the reports came out, and I felt maybe we should go for Grealish. But I think the EPL players are going to go, 80 million for Grealish is just absurd. I'm not sure, because we got Bruno and Van de Beek for that amount. I think Maddison and all these guys were also quoted, the same amounts. Actually, if I remember right, I think Longstaff last season, there was a rumor that we would have to pay 50 million for him. McGinn from Aston Villa, there was a rumor that we'll have to pay 50 million for him. Those are absurd amounts just because they're settled into the Premier League. But Van de Beek, I think now I'm excited that he's going to bring in something that our midfield did not have, that is off the ball movement. He's very good at receiving the ball. He's very good at finding spaces in and around the box. He's got goals in him. He's got good assists in him. He's a tough lad. He goes up and down. So I think that is a very good deal for, especially I think 39 plus 5, so approximately 44. And so I think I'm sorry, Akshay.
We had off the ball movement. It was all Lingard.
Yeah, but the point is, after off the ball movement, once he receives the ball, that also matters, right? Because Lingard would just 99%.
That's actually
Lingard's
called
movements are only off the ball.
Yeah, no, it's way off the ball. Way off the ball movement.
Yeah.
Way off the ball.
Yeah, I think the time at the bench, I think, is best suited for him. Only inconsequential matches probably is where he should feature, in my opinion. Just because we do not have I don't think we'll be able to afford to offload him and buy someone else for backup at number 10. So I think with Van de Beek, for now, I think we're pretty sorted. But I do feel that eventually, hopefully in the winter transfer window or the next summer, we'll have to look at deep lying playmaker. When I say a deep lying playmaker, someone who I think in the form of Matic, because right now we're going to have when Ole plays 4-2-3-1, I think he prefers playing Matic and Pogba, wherein Matic plays the DM role and Pogba almost plays like a DLP, wherein he's connecting the defense and the midfield, and when necessary, I think he'll be going ahead. So I think for now we can let it go, but eventually we'll have to look at a DLP for sure. DLP or a DM, I think that depends on what Ole prefers playing. I'm thinking in terms of even though we started 4-2-3-1, I think Ole prefers to, in terms of when we are phasing into attack, he prefers to go into a 3-1-4-2 or a 3-4-1-2 of sorts. So he would prefer someone who can easily tuck into probably as a third defender or just ahead of the third defender who like to collect the ball from the defenders and go ahead. So I think we can look away from that for right now, but I think it is an area that is going to be addressed very shortly.
In your words, you're saying that we can at the moment not bid for Thiago. Let's suppose, I know he's most probably going to go to Liverpool, but just in case, according to you, we should wait till the winter and not sign Thiago right now.
I think Thiago, right now with Bayern, he's playing DLP again, but I think with us, he will not have the luxury of not defending. Although he's a very good player all round, and I would love him at our club, I think right now he's not what is required. I think we can let that go, and I also think probably we'll have to offload Fred to accommodate Thiago, but so I feel Fred is the better option as of now for our club, considering we've already got attacking options of Pogba and Bruno who do press, but we would need someone purely in a DM or a DLP mode who can sit back and defend and break attacks as well. And I don't see Thiago doing the defensive part of those things, although holding on to the ball and everything, I think he'll be a great this thing, but still I would not prefer to go for Thiago.
So, Anup, who would you finally want to add out of these three? So we have Sancho, we have Upa, and we have Sergio Reguilon, who are the three options available. Which ones of these would you want to add to the squad?
I think when the window started off, I think I read reports saying Ole wanted to add a defender, a midfielder, and a right winger. So Sancho obviously has got to be the top choice, and I hope it gets through. And I think we've seen a lot of reports yesterday and today also saying the deal could be closed, and I think something was shared today saying on 14th he might be announced. So hopefully Sancho and I think we'll have to pay around 120 for him for sure. And I will be glad if we negotiate on the wages part for him. So Sancho is a no-brainer for me. And for the defender, I think I've been pretty vocal regarding this. I think we need someone else to pair Maguire with. And Ole wants, probably in terms of spreading the ball, he wants someone who's left-footed. And I don't know, although Upamecano is a great, a great potential, I think probably Ole would like to go for someone like Romagnoli or Lucas Hernandez. I'm not sure. But I think Upamecano, I don't see it happening. But if it happened, probably he's the only feasible option as of now.
But as a manager,
so I think these three.
Going through.
As a manager, I would take Upamecano any day, but I think that would end up with not having, because Upamecano, as far as I'm aware, he's a right-footed defender again. I think Ole is looking for someone who is more left-footed, but he has all the right abilities in terms of defending pace and awareness and everything. I have no doubts about that. So I think if I had to go for a feasible option, I think it would be Upamecano.
Okay, and the last question, I know we have Luke Shaw, we have Brandon, who's up in the ranks, who's not performing that well, but he's too young. Would you go in for a left back? There are rumors that we might bid for Sergio for around about 25 to 30 million euros.
Frankly, I've been very happy with what Shaw has done, because we've got a very lopsided attack. When we build attacks, we build mostly through our left, and that tendency is firstly because of Rashford and Bruno and Martial all having the tendency to move towards their left and then cutting into attack. I think that is one of the parts, and also because we do not have a proper right winger, for which I think Sancho would be required. But even if we do get Sancho, I see him coming in more centrally. Other than when we counter, I think he would be a lot more central. So I don't see the need for left back immediately as of now. I think I would surely give Shaw, if he can remain fit, I think he'll have a great season due to his ball carrying abilities. And I think he complements Rashford extremely well in terms of, because Rashford has changed his role since Bruno's arrival. I think more from an inside forward, he's become more of a winger and a playmaker, post the lockdown, and since we've got the whole team fit. So I think Reguilon would be a lot more attacking and would limit Rashford in that sense. I would like to have, I think, one more year for Shaw is what I would prefer.
Got it. So if you just analyze your overall analysis, Anup, I think you would want to see 5 outs, and you would want to see Donny van de Beek, Sancho, and Upa coming into the team with a net spend of close to 148.5 million after all the sales. So guys, this is exactly what Anup has analyzed. And now we'll quickly move on to the second part, where based on the new signings that Anup thinks that we can, or has just analyzed we could, we would now want to see how does that fit in through a team simulation. So Anup, according to you, right, how should we, I'm just going to share my screen. Let me know when you can see it.
I can see it.
Got it. So what, according to you, Anup, should be our playing 11, let's say by default, right? If you were to go out into a match, let's say against Aston Villa or against Everton or against Wolves, what would be your first playing 11 be, given the transfers that you've just brought in?
Look, I think Ole has played it 2 ways until now. And that is against top 6, he's preferred a back 3 with a 3-4-1-2, or what we would like to call a 5-2-1-2, because our wing backs are pretty, laid back and held back. But I think he's shown enough that his main, formation, his go-to formation is 4-2-3-1, and I would want him to stick with 4-2-3-1. And if we would have to go ahead with the formation, I think the back 4, and I would start with De Gea at least for the start of the season and see how it goes, and slowly bring in Henderson into the mix and give De Gea probably the last year, and then look at that headache for the later. So the back 4 is pretty much set, and I think in terms of midfield, I don't think Van de Beek would be a starter. I don't think we can afford him to, afford to drop Rashford for Van de Beek. So I think what Van de Beek would do is against teams that is going to just have a low block and just look to counter us. I think we will go for a midfield two of Pogba and Van de Beek, with Pogba playing the DLP. Which Ole has tried, and it has backfired a lot. Backfired in the sense he's done it against I think Southampton recently, and he lost the ball right in front of the penalty area. But I think Southampton pressed extremely well, and probably we can overlook that. And for teams that is going to set up extremely low blocks, I think Pogba and Van de Beek instead of Matic would be the team. But otherwise, I think Matic, Pogba, and Bruno should be the midfield, with Matic being the person dropping into as the third defender. Yeah.
So Anup, let's take it one by one, right? So against teams which are extremely low block, against teams against which you really have to find the creativity, I think sort of this is the team that you're suggesting, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right. So you want to see a two of Pogba and VDB, with Pogba playing more of a DLP position, and then Bruno being free in the number 10 role to go and attack. Right. This is what you want to see. Right. Now,
yes, and I think this might work. I'm sorry. I think this might work because Pogba, Bruno, and Van de Beek, if not Pogba, even Van de Beek and Bruno, I think are extremely, tenacious. I think they're not going to just sit back and, just think about attack. I've seen Bruno press like crazy even in the 90th minute of the game. And even Van de Beek has the same kind of passion towards the game. So I think that is the reason why it might work. And considering we are only going to be against counter attacks, and we have Upamecano and Maguire for defense, and probably one of the fullbacks just staying back a little, probably I think it might work.
Got it. And so I'm just going to simulate a little here, okay? Against a low block team, against a team like, let's say, Aston Villa, who's completely defending. You play this team, you're into the 60th minute and you're still 0-0, right? What is the first change that you would want to make given your transfers?
I think from here, probably change Van de Beek for Fred or Matic. Probably Matic, because I don't think he would be pressed so much by a team who's maintaining a low block. So bring in Matic and push Pogba and Bruno more ahead. And probably the second option would be Greenwood. Greenwood probably for Rashford, because I don't think Martial and Sancho would be ones to. I think Rashford would be the one, unfortunately, facing the higher ones. Probably Sancho is here, and I think Sancho to the left and Greenwood to the right, probably.
So that's the change that you would want to make in the 60th.
Yeah, I think this would be the change. Yeah.
Okay. Now, my second simulation, Anup, here that I want to discuss is an away match at Etihad, right? Against Manchester City, a tough team. You have to attack, but you also know you have to defend all the time, right? What would be your playing 11 against them away at Etihad?
Yeah, I think Ole has done pretty well. I think he's read Pep pretty well, and I sort of agree to his views and the way he plays against Manchester City, especially. There is a reason why Ole goes with a back three and goes with a 3-4-1-2 or a 5-2-1-2, and I think the main reason is off the ball moment of the Manchester City players, and the third to stop the third man running. I think that also is enforced by the fact that Lindelof, is Lindelof and probably even Matic lacks slight awareness of what is happening behind him. So considering that, I think back three is the way to go, and I would probably bring in. Lindelof and play Maguire in a central defense, and Upamecano and Lindelof to the left and right.
Something like this, right?
Yeah, and I think I think Shaw will stay, and I think the one that will make.
I think we won't have three up front, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, we won't have. I think in place of Greenwood, I think we'll have to play Shaw, and it will be a midfield two of Pogba and Matic.
Mm-hmm.
Bruno in the number 10 role, and Sancho and Martial up ahead. And I think Martial will play left and Sancho right. And I think Ole has used James a lot in what I'm preferring to use Sancho, because Ole has used his raw pace as a counter. He's just sat back and he's hit them on the counter. And I'm going for this, although I would love our manager and our team to be going all out with our best 11 against City. I still think there's a lot of work to be done in our squad to be able to continuously play that 4-2-3-1. I would hope to see that, but I think if it were me, I would go with this lineup against City away, especially.
Okay. Got it. So thanks a lot, Anup. I think very insightful, right?
Yes.
I think exciting times ahead. We've bought a good player, and I think we should have another couple of guys coming in. So thanks a lot
Yes.
for letting us know your thoughts, your analysis on this. It was great to see you simulate with us, play the team that you want to. So thanks a lot, and hopefully you will be able to join us for a few more sessions later on during the season. So
yes, Arjun. Thanks to you guys for making this happen, and thanks for having me over.
It's been a pleasure, man. Thank you. All right. So moving on to our next panelist today, Devdeep. So Devdeep, I believe you're also very new to the group, right? You've joined. You haven't joined
during the lockdown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something good happened due to this lockdown, right? Yeah.
So thanks a lot for joining, right? Thanks a lot. We'll do the same thing with you, Devdeep, right? So we'll go to the Excel sheet first. Let's see what you think differs from what Anup thinks. And then similarly, we'll see how your simulations or how do you want to go about it is different from what Anup thinks, because it's important that we get the views of all the fans, right, when we're discussing this. So I'll do the same thing. I'll quickly share my screen and let's go through the Excel sheet that we created earlier with Anup. And just let me know once you're able to see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So I'm going to keep these things as it is. What would you change, Devdeep? Let's start with the outs, right? Are your outs the stats similar to what Anup said, or would you want anything different?
Yeah, more or less. So let us first get realistic. Sitting on 4th September, it's not just a wish list, right? It's just not a wish list. We'll have to obviously pay attention to the rumors that are going around, and accordingly, Sergio Romero is as good as a done deal, we may say, to Aston Villa, right? And Sergio Romero and Chris Smalling, these two are as good deals as done. Chris Smalling to Roma. I'm not so optimistic about the prices which Anup had said. I'll probably go 8 million for Sergio Romero and 15 million for Chris Smalling. Okay, Marcos Rojo. We have been hearing some rumors about a possible link up and a transfer to Lazio since the past 2 days, and probably 8 million. We can probably get 8 million from Lazio for Marcos Rojo. Phil Jones, Phil Jones, he has lasted for 4 managers since Sir Alex Ferguson, right? David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, and now Ole. I really don't know whether we can really transfer out Phil Jones after recently offering him a contract extension. As much as I will want him to go out, I don't know whether that be a realistic transfer which can happen. Andreas Pereira. There was a discussion whether Andreas Pereira or Jesse Lingard. I don't know whether it's right or not, but I feel in United, Jesse Lingard is somewhat preferred over Andreas Pereira, and if you ask, maybe even over Juan Mata. So probably Lingard will stay, even though after his tie-up with Mino Raiola, we had expected him to go away. I think Lingard will stay and Pereira will have to move on. I want to add that if we do get a good offer for Juan Mata, I think it will be a good time to cash on him, whether we can still get anything. because Mata's age is not decreasing. He's on the wrong side of 30. He's probably 32, if I'm not wrong. And if he can get even 5 to 10 million, and if he's taken up by any Spanish team, will be wise to cash in on that. So that will be my realistic transfer players which will be going out. Diego Dallo, there is the name Diego Dallo, who is in player out pool. There was a rumor about Inter or probably Juventus also wanting to have him, but I don't know whether any of such has materialized or not. Diego Dalot and Fred, I think they will stay along with Jesse Lingard and Lee Grant. Lee Grant will probably move into a backroom staff.
So
that will be more or less my
Right. So according to you, Romero goes, Smalling goes, Rojo goes. Phil Jones, we will not be able to sell, and you would like to see Juan Mata and Ander Pereira also being cashed in on, right? So which gives us a total of around 50 to 55 million in outlay. Now coming to the main question, right? Who do you see coming in this transfer window?
Yeah. So VDB is done. For a long time, we were thinking that we won't be having any transfer in at all, but VDB did happen, and we are ecstatic about it. Jadon Sancho, I think, is positive. We will somehow, it is taking some time due to the various uncertainties in such a big big amount deal, which is happening. We have had news that due to the agent fees, things did get complicated. But I still believe that we will see through Jadon Sancho deal. Whether it takes time or not is another question. But Jadon Sancho will happen. Upamecano, I don't see Upamecano happening at all. At least not this term, because he has recently signed an contract extension, and Leipzig don't need the money. They are playing Champions League football. They are in good position, and they won't be looking to sell their star player. So Upamecano is a no-no for me. If you are being realistic, it's not happening this season. Thiago Alcantara, such an exciting player, but somehow, after reading some recent articles about the wage structure, which got totally out of track when we signed Sanchez, and the efforts that Ole is making to bring back a certain stability to the wage structure after clearing some of the players and getting some of the players out of the door. I don't think getting in Thiago Alcantara for exorbitant wage, if he asks, will be a good move, because if we see Ole's recent moves have been to get in players who wish to play for the club, who wish to represent United and win for the club, rather than just encash on their big last paycheck before getting on the wrong side of 30 and getting to the smaller team.
You're referring to Thiago, right?
Yeah, I'm referring to Thiago Alcantara. As much as I like to have him, and he's an exciting player, I don't think signing him for such a huge wage, I don't think Ole will do that, and I personally won't be doing that. There's another reason to that. Although Thiago Alcantara can play as a DM, I don't see him as a DM. He's more of a B2B player. And if I remember correctly, in all the teams that he has played for Bayern, he has had a specific DM along him, whether it is Joshua Kimmich, Javi Martinez, or Leon Goretzka. So I don't see Thiago Alcantara as a DM. Whether he can play there or not is a different question, but he's not a DM. He's more of a B2B, and I don't see Thiago Alcantara. Coming to the last name, Sergio Reguilon, I'll definitely go for Sergio Reguilon. He's such an exciting player, and we could all see what he can do in the recent match against United itself. And I think we should keep our ears to the ground and see whether we can take him for below somewhere 30. I think his Real Madrid has placed around 25 to 30 million as his price, and if you can get him in below 30, definitely go for him.
Got it. So according to you, I think the three ins have to be Donny, Jadon Sancho, and Sergio Reguilon. And the
Right.
5 out, as you discussed earlier, are going to be Sergio Romero, Chris Smalling, and Marcus Rojo from defense, Juan Mata, and Andres Pereira. Right? Uh, would Sergio actually? Let's go to the simulations now directly to see if Sergio Reguilon would be your first choice wing back or not. Let's just give me a second. Okay, so here we go, Devdeep. Let me know once you can see the simulation screen.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
I can
right.
see it. Yeah.
Okay, now
Yeah.
again, first 11, irrespective of a different match or a place, right? What would be your first go-to 11 be?
Yeah. So this is based on the transfers that we decided. And Sergio Reguilon, even though I personally want it to happen, I don't think it can happen this time. So I'll just keep VDB, which has already happened, and Jadon Sancho, which I'm
Okay.
totally positive about that will happen. Okay.
Okay.
So okay. So 4-2-3-1 will be my formation, which I think Ole will be going with, because I don't see him playing and accommodating all the three, that is Pogba, Bruno, and Van de Beek, in a team, like all of them starting for United and winning it. Like, I don't think defensively that will be a smart move at all. Because Van de Beek, even though he can play as a DLP, he's not a DM again. I have read some articles about him, and all of them have one thing in common, that he's a very good ball winner. He can put in some tackles and he can win the balls, but then he's not a defensive midfielder. He'll rather like to operate in the final third and play as an attacking mid or a B2B rather than play as a DM. So even though we can play him as a DLP or as a double pivot alongside Pogba, I don't think that is feasible in the long run. So rather, it will be 4-2-3-1, exactly what you have placed for the 2021 session, with Maguire, Lindelof as a central back pairing, Wan Bissaka and Shaw as our fullbacks. Matic, Matic, we can play against the teams who do not sit back. I think Pogba, Bruno, as they played in their roles toward the end of the season, and in the long run, which we'll have, including Champions League football, FA Cup, League Cup, I think Van de Beek will come into play, and he will get lots of chances, because we will have injuries. Even though none of us want injuries, they are one part which we can't negate at all. Injuries will happen, and Van de Beek's flexibility to play in both positions, which Bruno and Pogba plays, that's a very good and a positive thing to have. I'll One change which I'll like to make is I'll rather start Dean Henderson in place of De Gea. I know, even though De Gea produced a very good performance in yesterday's Nations League match against Germany, I don't think it will be wise to bench a player who's such in form as Dean Henderson, coming on off the back of such an impressive performance for Sheffield. So I'll start Dean Henderson
Okay.
in
So
goal.
Devdeep, what would be a similar
Yeah.
simulation that we did with Anup, right?
Mhm.
60th, 70th minute of the match, it's 0-0, or maybe let's suppose we are 1-0 down.
Right,
What
right.
is the change that you would make to this playing 11?
So I'll if we are playing with Sancho, I'll probably sub out Matic and put in Van de Beek. I'll play Pogba as a DLP or as the midfielder who sits at the deepest. Push Van de Beek and Bruno as the two attacking midfielders. This will be my first substitution, and if needed, I'll probably sub out Rashford or Sancho for Greenwood, depending on the situation that we're in, whether they have run too much or not.
Yeah. So I think probably this is where I also want to hear in from Akhil, right? So Akhil, this looks like a common thing, right? We even saw Anup talking about this, that playing Pogba slightly back and VDB and Bruno together. Do you think this can work or this will work?
See, I have two takes on this. Like when can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, we can.
You're audible.
So So basically, we have to play Matic in some matches. Like for low block teams and high defensive teams, this is the team to go for it, because VDB and Bruno gives two outputs for creations, and both of them I feel will be a very good providers for Rashford, Martial, and Sancho up front. But in case of attacking teams, like if you play like teams like Liverpool or even top Champions League teams, there Matic will play a role, because Pogba, as we all know, he's not very comfortable in the DM role. I feel he makes mistakes and he loses balls, and that can punish us very very badly in big games and playing against high pressing teams. I feel in that case, either one of VDB or Bruno, depending on their form and their fitness, will have to make way for Matic.
Yeah, I
Where
think Pogba
I'll just
here-
like to add.
yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you in. I'll just like to add. I want to stress one thing clearly. This formation which we are seeing on the screen right now, with Pogba as the player who is slightly setting back, this will only occur when we are looking for a win, when we are a goal down or two goals down, and we are desperately looking for a win. Else, what Akhil said, Pogba playing DLP from the start of a match is a disaster waiting to happen. We have seen him lose too many balls when pressed by two or one or two players who are fast pressing him, and he had wanted to control the ball, but probably has lost it in a difficult and a dangerous position, which may lead to goal. A good team can absolutely punish us. So Pogba does not
See,
start as DLP in any of the matches. This is
see, the
only
thing
if
is-
we are.
See, the thing is,
Yeah.
as far as I've seen VDB's video for last few days, and after some of the analysis, what I feel is he's very similar to Pogba in a lot of things. When going ahead, basically going ahead, he
I
puts
completely
in
agree.
good. Hello. Hello.
No, Akhil, I think I was just
Yeah,
saying I completely agree with that. They're very similar.
Very similar, and I feel he just Pogba. So in this lineup, I feel Pogba will take the left. Pogba will take the left, and VDB will go in the right. If they're playing the double pivot role, Pogba, as we know, he has done well in the left side, and VDB, as we all know,
true.
in Ajax, he used to play in the opposite side of the midfield. So the left side, right side combination will do good against low block teams when we need that kind of creativity from the middle. And in that, Rashford and Martial can make the runs and get the balls, because as we all know, Pogba gives that long balls, and VDB also does similar things. He picks up the gaps and gives excellent long balls to the attacking front. So I feel in low block teams, VDB and Pogba together can give an additional creativity option, and maybe in those cases, even if Bruno needs a rest, if in second half to prevent the lead, we can bring in Matic also in place of Bruno, just to bring that stability back to the team in if substitution is required.
For me also, I think this sort of formation is still better, right? Rather than isolating Pogba as a DLP, if
Yes.
VDB can be there, if both of these guys can move in a little bit, right? I think this is good because this gives Pogba the ability to give those long passes. VDB can basically take care of this entire area. We anyways have Rashford and Sancho running in. So I think this sort of is a good backup 11 when we are chasing or when we are trying to, probably win a match. So
I think if I may add,
yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry for cutting in. I think if I may add, we're looking at Pogba in terms of like similar to a Carrick role, wherein he was literally like a quarterback, and this will work like we've discussed. It will work only against teams that are playing low block. So pulling the strings from deep down. I think he's done it against the comeback win in under Mourinho against Newcastle. I think he literally played a second center back that day, and that was the day Jose said, he might even play a center back. He's that good. So I think against low blocks, that shouldn't be a problem. Pogba playing, the Carrick role.
Yeah. And Devdeep, since we are just running out of time a little, right? Last question to you.
Yeah.
Away match against City at Etihad, right? How would he change your 11?
I don't think I will. I know Ole has often gone for a 3 at the back, 3-4-1-2, or as Anup said, 5-2-1-2. But I'd rather go with my trusted formation, 4-2-1-3. Why not? play Matic as a DM who can fall back and be a third centre back if needed, or shield the two centre backs, and Van Bissaka and Shaw can go up, but start with 4-2-1-3 and uh, switch and twerk the formation according to the need. But I'll start 4-2-1-3. Yeah.
Got it. I think what just worries me here, and this is the last question to you, Devdeep, is all of these formations, right? There's absolutely no talk of Scott McTominay, whether it's an away match, whether it's a match we are chasing, or whether it's a match in which we are playing against a low block team. Anywhere you see Scott McTominay, and the reason why I keep asking about him is because of the promise that he has shown. Do you see him coming into the picture anywhere in any condition, except maybe FA Cup or League Cup matches?
I don't know whether it is fortunate or not. I think it's unfortunate for me to say, but I don't see him starting any of the matches for 2021. If we are to pose a threat for the league or the important competition that is Champions League, the maximum that I can see is Scott McTominay starting for the FA Cup matches and the League Cup matches. Probably if we get any lower league teams, I mean lower league or lower foreign league teams for in a group stage for Champions League, or him coming in as substitution,
Okay.
unless
Oh.
unless he's absolutely needed in case of too many injuries, then he can start in midfield. Else, I'm sorry, no.
Yeah, I think with him, it's just unfortunate, right? That's
Yeah,
the
it
case.
is. It is very
So,
unfortunate. But he still has age on his side. He is still a United player. He still has a contract. He can still chip in and be valuable as he was last season. He and Fred, they basically both of them did carry a midfield when it was needed, when with no Bruno and Pogba injured. So
got it. All right. Thanks a lot, Devdeep. Thanks a lot for sharing your analysis and your simulations with us. Really
it was a
appreciate it.
pleasure. Yeah,
Hope to see you also in one of our future sessions again. Love to
I
have
love
you.
to.
And before we log off, guys, Akshay, a couple of minutes from you. Your thoughts on what a transfer window could look like, and do you think we're going to fall short of a player when the season ends? Oh, sorry, when the
Uh,
transfer ends.
Although I've not been following the transfer rumors recently out of sheer frustration, but Sancho, as per me, isn't coming. We might sign one or two under key players, but I'm not too hopeful. Sancho in summer, quite a possibility.
Yeah, but then I think we'll have a lot of clubs bidding for him at that time.
At that time, yes, but I don't think Dortmund is going to go lower than 120 or 90 plus something up front. I don't think they would, especially after this pandemic, even they are strapped for cash.
Yeah.
I think if ever there was a time to show financial prowess of Manchester United, I think this is the time.
It's right now, but even when the times are good, the club has backed out.
Yeah,
I think
but
I think
considering clubs like, yeah, sorry.
I think 70 plus 30 plus
See,
20
as far
or
as
a
I,
90-30
I
will more or less be a realistic option. And United
see,
should press on them,
see,
and so we need him.
I what I feel is there will be one more signing. That will be Sancho. That's it. There won't be any more signing. There will be rumors about Reguilon, Upamecano or not, but I don't think it's happening because signing more than two players, and especially if they sign Sancho, that kind of outgo within two players, I don't think we'll be going for another player given the current situation we are in. So, but Sancho, I think it's done because uh, uh, 10th September, I think 10th or 14th September is the date which has been announced. So let's and if Sancho is done, I'll be very happy. And provided, and I also like
All of
people
us will be.
list of people like out, like players going out and fetching a 60 million. I don't see that value coming in because if it is normal scenario, maybe it would have happened because I
Yeah,
don't see people spending 10 million and 12 million for Phil Jones in this scenario.
no.
But we need the players to go out more than the transfer fees. I think it's the
More than
wages which
Sanchez.
we need
Yeah,
to save
correct,
on.
exactly. The wage is the one. See that the Sanchez going out itself has relaxed the wage structure so much, so we can go for
It has.
multiple players. Like, just the wage of Sanchez, we can cover both VDB and Sancho. I feel.
But I think that is what the club is trying to avoid right now. Another Sancho situation by paying a 20-year-old another, giving him a 200K contract per week, and then give him a 5-year contract. 3 years later, you're going to have this contract on another 300K.
The problem is, the thing is, see, 200. You don't look at this 200K and 120 million. Thing is, he is a assured talent. He is a promised talent. He's
a generational talent.
He's a generational.
He's a great talent. Yeah.
If you take the example of previous players like take Dembele, Joao Felix, or like players like that, they have gone for the standard rate of 120 million. They have not. They have shot and Sancho being an English player and he'll fit right into the team. I don't see him any problem having any problem with singing with the team also, because he already have connection with players in the team, Maguire and Rashford and people like that. So Sancho will fit right in, and I don't think spending 200 million on him will backbite on us like Sanchez. Sanchez was an anomaly. He's like 27-year-old piano player. That's it.
Yeah, really, really sad to see the comments that he's made today in the newspaper. Right, that after his transfer, after the first training session itself, he wanted to go back to Arsenal. So
is that what he said on the Instagram video also?
Yeah, I mean,
I made it.
Yeah, it was
early morning when I woke up and found that news. I tweeted, "Why didn't he tear up the contract? Would have saved us a fortune, isn't it?"
Yeah.
And would not be crying today that our wage structure got totally derailed, and other players were asking for such huge sums of money. This did create a problem in the dressing room. It does create a ripple effect. When we play one player
the piano, right? Why was he playing the piano? Because he was not happy.
Yeah, right.
Okay, guys. So I think that's all the time that we have today. The hour is up. Sorry, Akshay, you're saying something?
We'll take on some comments and questions. Yeah, we'll just quickly do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So
see, one question I kept seeing is regarding Martial. Why are we not discussing about centre forward options? Are you confident?
Yeah, there were two questions. Whether there were two questions.
Both the panelists.
One was regarding whether we are confident Martial, and another was whether we need I don't remember the player. Another type of centre forward.
One second. We'll go on the questions one by one. I'll show it on the screen. Anup, this is for you. Answer this.
Can't AVB play as a centre back for us? Doesn't he have that capability? Anyway, he isn't that. Actually, when he came in, I remember having this small discussion on the group, talking about how Wan-Bissaka might be our third, centre back, or might be, transformed into a DM, or at least tried for that. But I don't think we should be doing that. I think we've played a lot of players out of their original, natural positions for a lot of time, and playing. Finally, we've got a right back after probably 7 or 8 years. We've got a proper right back. He's just 20 or 21. I think I'm pretty sure he's going to improve his. He's working on his attacking, point of view, and he's very good defensively. I don't think we should ever be doing this mistake again of changing a player's original or natural position that comes to him.
All right. So this will tie in the Martial question also.
I just had to one point, if time permits. Like I don't see centre back being such a worry. Like people are saying centre back. People saying AVB to be played as centre back. I don't know, because we have backup players. We have enough players.
I think we addressed that in the last video also. That centre back position is sorted. If we get someone who's maybe half the generational talent of Sancho, maybe. Okay, let's think about it, but it's not necessary, right?
But as of now, it's not a concern. At least for me, it's not a concern.
Okay, so next question, which is also going to tie in the Martial discussion that we had. So this is for both of you guys.
If I may answer first, I think the first question that Akhil asked was whether we should talk about Martial playing as a centre forward for the whole season. I think if considering we signed Sancho, and I'm confident that we might end up signing Sancho, we'll have an option of front three of Martial, Rashford, and Sancho. And we have backup options of Greenwood and Daniel James. So considering the center forward position, in case of an injury or in case of a rest, I think Greenwood is capable enough, and I feel he should play. Because he's one of the best. I think he's the best finisher that we've got at our club right now. He should be given his chances at center forward. And
He got
in
his
case
number
of
11
any
also today.
yeah, he got his number 11. So I have big hopes of him, and I think. So like I was saying, in place of Martial, I think Greenwood would be the first option, and probably in the worst case scenario, Rashford can play that position as well. And we have a lot of mix 5 forward options for 3, and in case we have Lingard or let's say Mata available to play the right wing or anything, I think there are a lot of options. With Van de Beek coming in, you never know. Ole might again go back to the diamonds in case of lack of options. So there are a lot of options. I don't feel right now we need a center forward, but yeah, I did actually make note of a lot of center forwards for whom we might have to go ahead further. Like Milik is available, Inaki Williams, people like these probably, but it's not an urgent situation right now in my thinking.
Okay.
I think I'll totally agree with Anup there. One position which I think we are totally sorted for quite a number of years, and in the future that will be center forward. And I have been really impressed. It has been a pleasure to see Anthony Martial grow into the role of the striker, of the center forward, and make that role his own. We have really seen all facets of a typical center forward from him during the last season, and I think he can only improve. And then we have one of the best finishers, one of the best young talents who has just had his breakthrough year, Mason Greenwood, just waiting in the stands for any opportunities. I think center forward, we don't need any more center forwards. Ighalo is there till at least till January transfer window. I think we are sorted in that position. Anthony Martial, it's really been a pleasure. I am so happy for the center forwards which we have in our club right now. Anthony Martial and Mason Greenwood, especially.
All right. We'll take one last question. Yeah. This is for you, Saad. This is for you.
I was just going through that conversation today, and I think James was signed because of the potential that he's had, and I don't think Ole meant him to be a starter, but I think we were all surprised by what he, the kind of start he did have. And to me especially, I did realize that there is going to be a time where the output is going to reduce, and that did happen. I do think that being a backup option right now in case we sign Sancho, I think he should be able to be he should be comfortable playing left wing or right wing, and I think he should play left wing. I think it comes in more naturally to him than right wing.
All right, that's all the time that we have. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Anup. Thank you, Devdeep. Hope to see you guys soon.
Thanks for having us here.
Yes, thank you for having us here. Thanks for the opportunity, and hope to be back again for some other discussion, probably a more centric discussion.
Definitely.
Yeah, great job, guys.
All right, signing off. GGMU. See you guys soon.
Yeah? Yes, GGMU.
GGMU.
See you guys. Bye.
Okay.